After 16 years of war in Afghanistan, President Trump says the United States is not about to cut and run. He's unveiled a new strategy for South Asia. And our man in Washington, Erik Rosales, is here to fill us in. Erik, what did the president say? What's the new policy?
Well, as we know, Gary, we have about 8,400 U.S. troops that are currently in Afghanistan, and we've been hearing a number of around 3,900 to 4,000 U.S. troops would actually be heading off to the area. That's the number that the Pentagon had originally asked the president for, but we don't have a specific number just yet. President Trump did not want to say any specific number because our enemies would be watching, but also he wanted to be able to leave that up to the Secretary of Defense, James Mattis. And ironically, James Mattis actually just spoke with reporters in Iraq just moments ago, and he didn't even have a specific number. He says that every war is unique and that he needs to speak with his commanders and generals on the ground to determine how many troops will actually need to be able to go to the area.
And Erik, I understand that the president changed the rules of engagement. Tell me about that. What's that all about?
Yeah, that is the biggest issue, and that's the biggest change that we're going to see in this war in Afghanistan. We're no longer in a nation-building effort with our hands tied on fighting the Taliban and things like that. During the Obama administration, President Trump says, no, we are going to be there to kill the Taliban, and it's going to be a very powerful and swift action, and we are going to be there to win this war. That's what he kept saying.
And kill the enemy, I think he...
That's right, and to kill the Taliban.
Now why? Why just the Taliban? Are there other groups that he's targeting?
No, there are specific other groups that he is targeting as well. It's anyone who is against the ideology of America and against building a government in the area that would be able to sustain itself so that we can be able to bring our troops home.
And I saw where he reminded everyone that 9/11 happened because of Afghanistan and
that is right.
Militant Islamists that were running around freely there.
That's right. Militant Islamics, it's kind of a safe haven. Pakistan is known that as a safe haven for Afghanistan fighters who are against coalition forces. So he actually wants to put the pressure on Pakistan that you're either with us, we're giving them millions of dollars, and you're either with us or you're against us. And that would be in the form of sanctions, tougher sanctions that they could actually speak. And he also put the pressure on India to provide more financial support in the near future to be able to build this country up and so it can sustain its own.
So it's a little interesting how the U.S. will have to position that between those two powers, nuclear powers, I might add.
Exactly. It's going to be a very delicate process, but, I'm sure that between the Secretary of State, Tillerson, he'll be able to handle that, along with Mattis, be able to bring in his troops and generals and help smooth this all over. But the main thing is just being there to kill the Taliban and to actually make this country better so that we can be able to bring our troops home eventually.
So we're looking at something like probably close to 13,000 American troops there eventually. He's not saying, but if you look at the Pentagon numbers, as you said. So it is America's longest running war, Erik. So what makes the president think the Taliban and others will be finally defeated there in Afghanistan?
Well, that's going to be interesting to see. I mean, he's actually relying on his generals more than any other administration. As we know, he surrounded himself with these generals from all the way from Mattis to Kelly. He wants to be able to get their input to be able to figure out, okay, what do we need to do to be able to end this war? This has been a war that has cost trillions of dollars, and there has to be an end. You know, we're hearing on Capitol Hill as well that a number of senators and congressmen up there, they want to debate. They want to be able to debate and find out if funding for this war should continue.
And he is keeping it open-ended, is he not?
Yes, he is. He is keeping it open-ended.
Okay, Erik Rosales, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Thanks so much for joining us from Washington.
You got it.